This is a questionable reality production.
Hello, I'm Zander Crowns, and this is AP Post History. Now let's get started. Today we'll be covering topic 4.4, the Dodo Resurgence. This was an odd occurrence, just by the title really, during the Dark Age, and it would have long-lasting impacts on societal makeup, or at least in the convoluted minds of post-historians. Then again, much of post-history is merely the filterings of convoluted post-historians. But continuing on, in our time, the dodo bird is a strange, albeit funny-looking bird that is probably best known for dying out relatively fast upon making contact with humanity. Their extinction is so famous, in fact, that we humans even have a dark expression about going the way of the dodo, which makes light of the extinction of a poor innocent bird and compares it to, say, a year-old phone model going out of date. But I digress. What are we talking about? History? This is post-history. So the dodo birds had long been extinct, and even in pre-apocalyptic times, no one had tried to revive these silly birds. There was just seemingly better things to do. So it was quite confusing when suddenly they began to show up again, and in relatively large numbers. People at first thought this occurrence was relatively benign and unremarkable. Most people thought they would make a good snack food, and some did venture to snack on those dodos. However, while dodos in pre-apocalyptic times were thought to be overly fearless birds to such a point of being easy targets, in this dark age, the dodo's fearlessness manifested as extreme aggressiveness and daring. There was nothing the dodos wouldn't do or try, even if it quite obviously could cost them their life. They were just that fearless. So the people who attempted to hunt the dodos found that they would fight back. They would charge at passerby, recklessly rob banks, and had no qualms about seducing other people's spouses. It honestly became a question of, what wouldn't the dodos do? Naturally, this concerned people, especially those whose spouses now loved a dodo bird more than them. So, all across the scattered city-states and fiefdoms of the world, an international task force was contrived to deal with this dodo problem. At first, humans, as they naturally do, declared war on the dodo bird. They would stalk out their encampments and then savagely do battle with them until the motley birds were outdone. This worked for a bit, but a fearless enemy is not one so easily subdued. You see, once the battle started, the dodos had no qualms about venturing deep behind enemy lines or sneaking up on well-entrenched bases and attacking. Though these attacks often resulted in the dodo attackers being eliminated, great disorientation was left in their wake. People became gripped by dodo paranoia and began to do more about that dodo question, especially as dodos began to attack civilians. In fact, let's turn to the History Makers segment, where King Titus IV of Monkistan makes a passionate plea to the International Task Force. One of those birds were in my castle today, waltzing about without a fear in the world. The fear that that bird should have was instead in my people, as they locked themselves away in need of protection. Why should I and my children fear that fat feathered mass? You have failed us. Something more must be done, lest the dodos rule. Something more would be done. Through intense international cooperation and coordination, policy of non-interaction was developed. Now, you may be confused why all the people decided it was best to not engage with the dodos at all. Well, you see, people remembered that the dodos were so easy to extinct before because they had no predators and thus no need to be overly aggressive. So humans stopped attacking predatorily and let the dodos get comfortable. So in a generation or two, they were fearless in a negative sense and would happily walk up to their slayers and be slain with no qualms about it. Through this policy, the birds once again were rendered extinct from this world. And that's it. Topic 4 of Unit 4 is complete. If you want to find success in your post-history class and fear the dodo, consider subscribing and liking this video. My goal is to see each and every one of you get a 92 in your class and a 7 on the exam in Quintober. Alright, Zander Crowns, checking out.